Oh, you want to know how much I hate the apple tree in our backyard?
My friend, come look at this. English people are joking.
Yeah, about this fucking.
Let's get down to the front lines or the tactical level. In a war of drones and deadly precision, where every tank, every artillery piece is hunted, the simplest deceptions can have lethal results. Take a look at this. From a satellite or a drone thousands of feet up, it looks like a formidable Russian T-90 tank, ready for a fight, a prime target. But it's not. It's an inflatable decoy. It costs a fraction of the real thing, but can trick the enemy into wasting a £1 million missile. Of course, it looks good visually, but as we saw in some of the earlier videos, there are thermal imagers. So your blow-up tank has to have a thermal signature like a real tank. And there are other ISTAR, intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance technologies that are used in the battlefield. Radar is a classic one, and therefore your blow-up tanks have to have a radar signature like an armoured vehicle. This is where modern technology meets ancient techniques and is what we're seeing on the Ukrainian battlefield.
What?
Could anyone tell me why my text-to-speech voice sounds like he's on his deathbed?
Chapter 1. Introduction to medical terminology.
Oh, hello.
Aye,
What's your name?
aye. This dog looks like someone I've seen.
I've never seen a dog like you before.
Yes! No, what? This one could be a skinwalker.
I like your lips.
Aye.
How did they get so human-like?
Yes!
Did somebody transform you?
This one is a person.
That's what everybody thinks, to be honest. What grace.
It's not a normal dog.
What would you do if somebody fed you
What
a
is
steak
this?
that was pure mush? That's the inside of the steak. The whole steak just turns to mush. Y'all, there's a reason why I don't eat out. I just got a family meal from Roadhouse for my nephew because it's his favorite place in the whole world. I put that in my mouth and I thought I was going to hurl all over the place. Look at this steak. First of all, when I went to cut it, it just flopped. It's all cooked like differently, but look at the texture. It's like there's no sinew. What in the world is this? It was just mush in my mouth. When I went to bite into it, it was like mashed potatoes or pate and it has not necessarily a rotten smell, but like a funky smell. Like that's the inside of the steak. I don't think that's a steak. What was just sent to me? Like, this is, of course, it was brought to me because I've been sick, so I'm not in a position to, look at that. It's just mush. I'm not in a position to drive it back up there. So can somebody tell me what that even is? And why? Have you ever seen a steak that just mushed like that? I put a bite of it in my mouth. I almost threw up all over the place. So somebody tell me what it is that I got. Tag Roadhouse in the comments, and maybe they can help me understand what in the world it is that I got.
This does not look like steak at all.
The Satanic Temple is giving out free food, and you're telling me your church that you've been paying tithes to for over 20 years can't help you?
I saw this creator talking about how you can just look at a video and by the lighting, you can tell if someone's in Africa or like in Ghana. And look at this video, you can just tell that I'm in Ghana. And I don't know what it is. I really can't figure it out. But it's not like the lights in the US.
Oh, is that true? You guys, can you know if it's true by looking?
I understand this, and that's okay. But if you've come across this video, then there's a good reason for it. I'm going to tell you 3 things that I've learned as a grown woman and through my journey from a refugee child to being a consultant surgeon and recently shifting my entire life, pivoting in my career and moving from the UK to the Middle East. Number 1, the edge of your capacity and your capability is directly proportional to your current identity. That is why it's easier to shift identities than it is to manifest or co-create a different type of life while you remain who you are in this space and time. Number 2, failure is information. And when you learn the art of changing your point of view from shame to understanding Every failure becomes a stepping stone towards your success. And number 3, how much uncertainty you can tolerate is how successful you will be. These two things are very closely linked. The one certain thing about life is that it would forever be uncertain, and change would be the only constant. You cannot control what may come your way. You can co-create and pave your way. I guess I had a fourth one to say, and that is everything in this life is temporary, including your problems. So don't get attached.
Good vibes.
Did you know that birds don't sing if there's predators around?
Oh yeah?
And that's why we feel so relaxed and safe when they sing. Because evolutionarily, we feel safe because they don't sing if predators are around.
I can't hear birds singing and you're in the woods.
And then there's a cranberry tree.
Okay, that one I'm not sure about it, but it's good vibes.
Can somebody please explain to me how when he puts a towel up, no, you gotta, I can't, yeah, there you go. Okay, this is him. How is it that we can see he's blocking his face with a towel?
You can see it?
I can see you.
Oh my god,
How?
this shit
Look,
is crazy!
how? Look, you guys, seriously. Look. Okay?
Wow.
This is like no magic trick. Look.
Oh my god, this is freaky.
His whole face
What?
is blocked. How?
Oh my god.
Hey, how can you explain that, says
I
people?
think the phrase is batshit crazy. So Donald Trump has posted on his Truth Social and on Twitter over 65 times in the last hour.
What?
How? I don't even know. But he's really pushing the elections that are coming up, the governor elections. He's really pushing it. This guy is losing his shit. I tell you what, this guy has 2 brain cells, and both of them are fighting right now, tonight, for 3rd place.
Who's the most beautiful face you see?
This one.
Him?
Yes.
He's like, confidence. All right, who's the ugliest face? Why not? Is she God? Is she the universe? Is she society? Who she thinks is ugly is subjective to her. It doesn't mean you're ugly. Are you really that afraid of being called ugly? Do you think if she's like, okay, out of everyone, you, Julian, you're the ugliest? Am I gonna be like, oh no? She can think that. It's okay. Am I for everyone? Do you all love me? Do you all want this? None of us are for everyone, and stop trying to chase this universal approval. And be okay being like, hey, if some people aren't into me, that's totally good and that's natural and that's normal. It would be super weird if everyone was.
You're unique and wonderful, special, just the way you are. Lovely
This is a
child
bearded
of God.
vulture, and this is a 650-year-old shoe that scientists just found in the nest of a bearded vulture. In fact, they actually found multiple really old shoes, as well as some other things of archaeological importance. Bearded vultures use cliff faces for their nests, and they kind of get tucked back into little caves at times. Really perfect places for preservation. And that's not the only thing. Bearded vultures will use these nests across generations. So these scientists wanted to see how old these nests actually were and if they could find material of interest in the nests. They chose 12 nests to look at, 2 specifically to carbon date objects from. So the base of that nest with that 650-year-old shoe, the oldest stuff they found in there seemed to be around 650 years. They also found this leather in that same layer. The leather had red pigment, ochre. It had been decorated. This little piece of basket right here was dated to around 150 years ago, and then this right here is an undated piece of a slingshot. And then up here we have another cool thing, which is a crossbow bolt they found in the nest. A bearded vulture at some point had picked one up to use like a twig. Along with those archaeological artifacts, they also found over 2,000 other objects like bone, eggshell, horn cores, things that you can carbon date. So things that you can really use to help identify when the layers of the nest were built. That's good for archaeologists. The team mentioned while this was more of an exploratory thing, trying to see if this was possible with these two nests to begin with, now that they know what you can get from these nests, you could do a lot with this. You could try to recreate past climates. You could recreate what the plants in an area were like. You can look for pollen. You can do so much with the material from these nests, and now archaeologists have a new tool in their bag. It's worth noting that this study took place in southern Spain, where bearded vultures have been locally extinct for over 100 years. And one other thing I found pretty interesting in this study was that there is a type of falcon that they have found evidence of their nest being over 2,500 years old, which I think that's just fascinating to think about the long-term occupation of these nests.
Hey, okay, that sounds fascinating, my friends. Even more incredible.
This is a really good question. So what I'm doing is something called early neurological stimulation. It was developed for military working dogs. The first test is tactile stimulation. So you use a little Q-tip, or you can use your fingers, and you touch the inside of the puppy's toesies. The second one is holding the puppy upright, and then you flip the puppy upside down, and then you flip the puppy on its back. Finally, you put the puppy on a cold, wet towel that has been refrigerated overnight, and that all stimulates the puppy's nervous system, all of the exercises included. What this does is it gives the body a little bit of stress, and so the puppy in the future is able to handle certain situations better. It improves their circulatory system, and it also gives us a chance to handle them a lot more. The last thing I add is a scent stimulation. So this is just early scent introduction. It gets puppies used to different smells. None of these things are necessarily anything special or anything new, but they've just been developed and proven to help with overall puppy behavior and health.
Why do all of my sixth graders think that blood is blue?
Now, friends, see, y'all ain't about to play these Mandela effect type games with me today. Because, baby, I remember. Because back in the 1900s, when y'all used to disguise the lies, I remember what you said. Because I remember asking the teacher, why did the little white girl Heather have blue lines on her arm? And I was told that inside the body that the blood is blue, and when it come outside the body and it hit oxygen, that's when it turned red. So, baby, y'all just gonna have to take the L on this one and just admit that you told us the wrong damn information.
Hi, my name is Dr. Rubin. I can tell you that as a child in school in the 1900s, I got confused looking at these diagrams and thought that the color of blood was blue because the veins were drawn blue and the arteries were drawn red, but this is really more of a naming convention to make it easier to understand these vessels. Because you see, hemoglobin is the oxygen-carrying molecule in red blood cells that has iron to give it the color of red, and when oxygen binds to hemoglobin, it appears a brighter red, and when the oxygen leaves the hemoglobin to go to tissues, it's a darker red. And to illustrate and prove this point, if you look at extracorporeal membrane oxygenation or an ECMO machine, that helps bypass the heart and lungs to help somebody recover. You can see clearly two different shades of red between the deoxygenated blood, and then when it comes back from the machine to the patient, it is a brighter red. But when you look at the veins on your skin, they appear blue because of how light is absorbed by the skin. If you scatter white light, that will then turn into the rainbow, and the warmer colors like red get absorbed by the skin, and then colors like blue get reflected back, and that is what we see and perceive as the veins being blue. But the actual color of the blood itself underneath is just a darker shade of red.
Okay, good vibes, doctor. They explained that to us. Is that
Scientists just forced guinea pigs to listen to Adele for 7 days, and the results are as worrying as they are surprising, because something bad happened, and unfortunately scientists weren't just testing what happens when guinea pigs listen to Adele. What they were actually testing was the damage to a guinea pig's inner ear when listening to over-compressed music, or in this case, almost any compressed music. And in case you're unfamiliar, music tends to come in two different formats, uncompressed and pressed, uncompressed being raw, having the whole natural sound wave, and compressed being a condensed or compressed version of that. It typically operates by setting a limit and kind of squeezing all the sounds to being within that decibel range, or trims them in some cases, as you can see through these examples that I'm clicking through. But the end result is that the same piece of music, which was Adele, it was a bit random, is harmless when played in its original uncompressed version. However, it introduces a protracted deficit of one auditory neural pathway when overcompressed at the same level. Or, to be expanded upon a little bit in the Music Radar article that I was referencing here, the group listening to the compressed version endured more lasting damage to the middle ear stapedius muscle. This component of every ear, humans too, protects the inner ear from loud noises and, at 1 millimeter long, is actually the smallest skeletal muscle in the body. So despite the music being played uncompressed and compressed at the exact same volume, the tests showed that animals who had listened to the uncompressed Adele made a full recovery of their inner ear muscles within 1 day. But the test was repeated for 7 days with no discernible lasting effects. However, the group of guinea pigs that had listened to compressed music did not get off so lightly, with their stapedius reflexes never fully recovering and exhibiting half of their strength at the end of the experiment a week later. So basically they're damaging the stapes, which you can see the stapedius muscle would be right around that, right in here in our inner ear, kind of all around the region that we would think of as the cochlea. Apparently that doesn't like compressed music, and in case you're curious, there's actually 3 types.
Okay, my friends, poor pigs, they are suffered for no
Do you mind
reason.
explaining to our audience what is the Fibonacci sequence?
Oh, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. How did I come up with those numbers? Well, you start with 1, and then you repeat it 1, and then you always add the last 2 numbers. So 1 and 1 are 2, 2 and 1 are 3, 3 and 2 are 5, 5 and 3 are 8, and then it goes on to 13, 21, whatever. You can also divide one of those numbers, the largest one, by the smaller one, and you get a ratio. Or you can divide the smaller one by a bigger one. You get 0.618. And so this seems really arcane, but these ratios are seen throughout nature. You look at a nautilus shell, the way it spirals around, that's a Fibonacci ratio in effect in nature. And then if you look at Greek architecture, you'll see that there is a ratio that is obeyed by the Fibonacci ratio in the construction of the Parthenon and a lot of these classical structures. They also show up in markets. So let's say we have a market that goes from this low right here to this high right here, and then it comes back a little. So it comes back to like what we would call a Fibonacci retracement level. So that 0.618 level is very important because that's when you'll want to see buyers start to step in. If it goes too far, if it goes down past the 50% mark all the way to the 0.382, that's another one, that's 1 minus 0.618, then that's kind of where the longs bail, and that's where you start to see the shorts get in control. So the market's all about balance, and the Fibonacci sequence and the ratios and all of that are just trying to find the equilibrium points where you might find new buyers stepping in or giving up.
That's so interesting. I had no idea what the Fibonacci sequence was. That's great. Thank you.
So I wanted to get a new camera because I heard this was the camera that all the big streamers got, right? All the big streamers with the high quality, all that. So I was like, okay, this is what I need. $600, that's expensive, but it's an investment, right? Because when you buy something, it'll make you the money back, right? And then they said that you also need a certain lens with the camera in order to really make the quality pop. I said, okay, well, where's the lens? I'm looking at all these Best Buy employees. I don't think any of them can run fast.
Nice idea.
This is like the weirdest stuff I've seen. So dig this. So I'm in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, right? And as you can look, you can see like little frozen ice, right? Little small glaciers, right? Right on the Canada side. But when you look slap in the middle over there, you can't see any on the Detroit, Michigan side. There's like a straight up line. I don't know what's in the water to make it do that. The United States side don't got no ice glaciers. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Wow. God. I mean, that is the river.
So it's like all the way down there is like a dividing line. You can't.
Yeah, Frederick's Lake is in a fridge. Whoa.
What's in the water that's causing it not to be on the Michigan side?
Wow.
Pretty dope.
Meaning to guess this cold.
Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Detroit, Michigan, USA.
My friends, this thing about the weather always surprises me. When I see English lads, prices are freezing. How? How is that possible? Normally. Yeah. Anyway, my friends, that's not the only creepy and surprising thing we've seen today. We've come across a lot of interesting things together. And I appreciate you for your time, my friend, hitting that like button and just being with us. May God always bless you abundantly. Now, my friend, as we are about to end today's show, let's hear what the book of wisdom is telling us today. This is what it says, my friend. What do those call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter? What to those who are wise in their own eyes and clever in their own sight? That is from Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20 going down. Interesting words, my friend, right? Let's give thanks for life and this far and end today's show. Thank you, wonderful Father, for the good words we have heard from the book of wisdom, Father. Help us to understand them as you may be pleased, Father. Thank you for the interesting experience we've had together with your precious child, Father. We give you glory for that. Thank you for the blessings you've passed to this viewer, Father. Thank you for your mercies and forgiveness of all our sins, Father. Pray that you might always be with us. Do great things for this viewer, Father, and uplift their souls. In your holy name, Jesus Christ, we do pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Child of God, till next time, have a good time, share the videos, watch them again, and hit that notification and super thanks button if you can. Bye bye. Peace.